All right, so are you ready to ditch those winter blues? Because today we are diving into a world of pure color and joy.
Yeah.
We're talking Holi, the festival of colors.
Yes.
And specifically, this massive event happening right here in NYC, Holi in the City.
It's going to be huge.
You shared some articles with me, and I was flipping through them, and I'm like, thousands of people? A cool industrial space in Brooklyn. This is sounding less like a festival and more like a sensory explosion.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating about this is it takes an ancient tradition that's really rooted in spirituality and rebirth and sets it down in the middle of this bustling metropolis.
I love that.
Yeah.
So for those of us who have not experienced Holi firsthand, break it down for us. What are we talking about?
Okay, so imagine this. It's Saturday, March 22nd, 11 a.m. You walk into the 3DB yard in Brooklyn, and you're immediately hit with this wave of just vibrant color. People are dancing, music is pulsing, and the air is thick with this scent of spices and color, and you're not just watching, you're part of it.
Okay, so you're talking about throwing colored powder, right?
Yes.
But there's got to be more to it than just getting messy.
Oh, absolutely. The act of covering each other in color, it's traditionally called gulo. It's not just about fun, although that's a big part of it. It symbolizes breaking down those social barriers, letting go of inhibitions and embracing our shared humanity. It's like a powerful visual metaphor for unity and renewal.
Okay, so it's not just a party. There's some real depth to this.
Right.
But let's be honest.
Yeah.
The sensory overload aspect sounds pretty tempting too.
Of course.
What else can you tell us about the vibe of Holi in the City?
Yeah.
Our articles mentioned something about a blend of Bollywood and electronic music.
Yeah, that's where you see this fusion of tradition and modernity coming into play. The music is meant to be this really high-energy blend, pulling from the traditional sounds of Holi celebrations and mixing them with those modern beats. They're going for this truly immersive experience, that speaks to both your heart and your feet.
Now, I know you mentioned food.
Yes.
Are we talking traditional Indian dishes here, or is it more of a festival food kind of thing?
It's definitely not your typical hot dog and fries situation.
Okay, good.
Think more along the lines of aromatic curries, crispy samosas, maybe some sweet gulab jamun to balance out that spice.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's all about capturing those flavors of India and, adding to that overall sensory journey.
Okay, I'm sold. But before I go digging through my closet for something white to wear,
yes,
I got to ask, what else makes Holi in the City stand out from other Holi celebrations? What makes it unique?
Well, for one, the scale of this event is pretty incredible. Thousands of people, converging in the heart of Brooklyn to celebrate this ancient festival. That's a powerful statement in itself. But it's also about the intention behind it. The organizers are really emphasizing the values of unity, inclusivity, and sustainability. They want this to be a celebration that everyone feels welcome to participate in.
You mentioned sustainability, and I know from the articles that they're using eco-friendly colors, but is that enough to truly offset the impact of such a large event? What other steps are they taking?
That's a really important question, and honestly, it's something a lot of people are grappling with. The organizers are very much aware of the potential environmental impact and are taking steps to try to minimize it. Besides the eco-friendly colors, they're focusing on waste reduction, responsible sourcing for the food and materials. They even have partnerships with local organizations to help with composting and recycling. Is it perfect? Maybe not, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
All right, I appreciate that honesty. It's good to know that they're thinking about these things.
Mm-hmm.
So for someone who's hearing about this for the first time and thinking, okay, I'm intrigued, but how do I actually do this? What advice would you give them?
First and foremost, get your tickets.
Yeah.
They're going fast, and there are different tiers to choose from, early bird VIP packages. You can find all the details on the event website, and seriously wear comfortable shoes. You'll be dancing, walking, navigating crowds all day long.
Oh, and don't forget your camera.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be a visual feast.
Yes.
I can already imagine the amazing photos that people are going to capture.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think it's time we take a quick break.
All right, so we've talked about the sights and the sounds, even the smells of Holi in the City.
Yeah.
But let's dig a little deeper into the heart of this festival.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that Holi has some pretty deep spiritual roots.
Yes.
What's the story behind all of it?
Well, there are actually quite a few legends that are associated with Holi, but one of the most popular ones tells the story of Holika and Prahlad.
Okay.
Prahlad was this young prince who was incredibly devoted to the god Vishnu,
Okay.
much to the dismay of his demon king father.
So a little family drama right off the bat.
Right.
I'm hooked. What happened next?
Well, the king tried everything to get his son to renounce Vishnu, but Prahlad refused. So the king enlisted his sister, Holika, who had this magical shawl that protected her from fire.
Wow.
They tricked Prahlad into sitting on a pyre with Holika, hoping to burn him alive.
Wow, talk about tough love that's taking sibling rivalry to a whole new level.
Right, but here's the twist. Prahlad's unwavering faith in Vishnu protected him, while Holika, despite her magical shawl, perished in the flames.
Wow.
So Holi celebrates the triumph of good over evil, of faith over tyranny.
That's an incredibly powerful story,
Yeah.
and it adds like a whole new layer of meaning to this festival.
Yes.
But how does that connect to the colored powder and the whole celebration that we see today?
That's a good question. The bonfire that you see in some holy celebrations symbolizes the burning of Holika and the destruction of evil and the colors they represent, the joy, the vibrancy, and the new life that spring brings. It's a way of saying we survived the darkness and now it's time to celebrate.
It's amazing how these ancient stories and rituals
Yeah.
can still resonate with us today, even in a modern urban setting.
Right.
But Holi in the City isn't just replicating tradition, it's adapting it.
Yeah.
You talked about inclusivity earlier. So
Yeah.
what does that actually look like in practice?
Well, you see it in everything from the diverse lineup of musicians and performers to the variety of food vendors that are representing different regions of India. They're also working with local community organizations to make sure that the event is accessible to people from all walks of life.
While the focus on eco-friendly colors is commendable, I wonder if there's a way to make the event even more sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe reducing waste or using renewable energy sources.
Yeah, those are definitely areas where there's room for improvement, and it's a conversation that's happening within the larger holy community as well. Like, how do we balance tradition with responsibility? How do we make these celebrations more sustainable without losing their essence?
It's like trying to find a balance between honoring the past and evolving for the future.
Exactly, and it's something that Holi in the City is actively grappling with, which I find really encouraging. They're not shying away from the challenge. They're trying to find solutions that align with values of the festival itself.
I really appreciate that it's good to know they're being thoughtful about the impact of the event.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears for a second and talk about the practicalities.
Right.
Say, I'm totally convinced I'm ready to experience Holi in the City firsthand.
Yeah.
What do I need to know?
All right.
We touched on tickets and comfy shoes.
Huh.
What else?
Well, first off, embrace the mess.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to get covered in color. That's part of the fun. And it's all washable, especially since they're using those eco-friendly dyes. You might even want to bring a change of clothes if you don't want to go home looking like a walking rainbow.
Good point. And what about the crowds? We're talking thousands of people here. Any tips for navigating that?
Go with the flow. Holi is all about letting go of inhibitions, so embrace the energy of the crowd, but also be mindful of personal space and respect others' boundaries.
Right.
If someone seems uncomfortable, give them some room and definitely keep an eye on your belongings.
Yeah.
Pickpockets are always a possibility in those large crowds.
Smart advice. Now, I know they have dedicated photo zones.
Yep.
But do you think it's worth trying to capture the experience on my own phone? Or should I just surrender to the moment and leave the documentation to the professionals?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to say, just be present, enjoy the experience without worrying about getting the perfect shot.
Right.
But on the other hand, those colorful photos are such a great way to remember the day and, share the joy with others.
You're right. Maybe a good compromise is to snap a few quick pics early on, then put the phone away and fully immerse myself in the experience.
That's probably a good strategy. And who knows, maybe you'll end up in one of the official photos anyway.
Right.
They tend to capture those amazing candid moments of pure joy and connection.
Okay, one last question before we move on. The articles mentioned something about a VIP experience.
Yeah.
What's that all about? Is it worth the extra cost?
Well, the VIP package gets you perks like access to a private lounge area with dedicated bars and restrooms, which could be a welcome respite from those crowds. You also get a better view of the stage and some other goodies, whether it's worth it. Really depends on your budget.
Yeah.
And you know what you're looking for in terms of comfort and exclusivity.
Right, so we've covered the practicalities, the history, even some of the ethical considerations.
Yes.
But let's get back to the heart of it all.
Okay.
Why should someone choose to spend their Saturday at Holi in the City?
Yeah.
What makes this experience so special?
At its core, Holi is about connection. It's about celebrating life, shedding inhibitions, and coming together as a community. And Holi in the City captures that spirit beautifully.
Yeah.
It's a chance to experience this vibrant tradition, to connect with people from all walks of life and just let go and have some fun.
You're right. It's a reminder that even in a busy city like New York, we can still find those moments of pure joy and shared experience.
Right.
And those moments are precious, especially in today's world.
Absolutely. And sometimes we need a little nudge, a little burst of color to remind us of that.
Well said. Now, before we wrap things up, I think it's time we address the elephant in the room, or maybe we should say the colorful elephant.
I see what you did there. And yes, I think it's time we talk about what everyone's really thinking. What's it like to actually be there in the midst of that Technicolor storm?
Okay, so picture this. You're at Holi In The City. The music is pumping the aroma of spices and colors in the air, and suddenly someone throws a handful of like bright pink powder your way.
Right.
What happens next?
Well, ideally you laugh, you throw some color back, and you just embrace the moment.
Yeah.
It's all about, letting go of that self-consciousness we often carry around and just surrendering to the joy of the experience.
It's funny thinking about it now. There's something almost primal about the act of throwing color. It's like a release of energy, a way to express yourself without words.
There's definitely this sense of liberation that comes with it. It's like shedding a layer of inhibition, almost like a visual representation of like letting go of stress and negativity. And when everyone around you is doing the same thing, it creates this incredible feeling of unity and shared energy.
I've seen photos and videos of holy celebrations, and there's this amazing energy that comes through, even like through a screen.
Right.
I could only imagine what it feels like to be in the middle of it.
It's truly something you have to experience firsthand. Imagine dancing in a cloud of color surrounded by strangers who suddenly feel like friends. The music is pulsing, the colors are swirling, and you just feel this sense of pure joy and connection washing over you. It's like stepping into another world.
Okay, I'm starting to get some serious FOMO here.
Yeah.
But speaking of photos, I imagine social media is going to be flooded with images from Holi's in the City.
Of course.
Do you think that takes away from the experience, or does it add to it?
That's an interesting question. On one hand, there's something to be said for like being present in the moment, without feeling the need to document everything for the YM.
Right.
But on the other hand, sharing those photos can also be a way of spreading the joy and introducing others to this beautiful tradition.
You're right. Maybe it's about finding that balance. Snap a few pics to capture the memory, but then put the phone away and truly immerse yourself in the experience.
Exactly. Let those photos serve as a reminder of the joy that you felt, but don't let them become the main focus.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to ask you this, for someone who's maybe on the fence about attending Holi's in the City. What's the one thing you would want them to take away from our conversation today?
I would say if you're looking for a chance to break out of your routine to experience something truly unique and connect with something bigger than yourself, Holi's in the City might be just the thing.
Yeah.
It's a celebration of life, color, and community, all rolled into one incredible experience.
I love that it's a reminder that even in a world that can sometimes feel so divided and chaotic, there are still spaces where we can come together, let go of our inhibitions, and simply celebrate being alive.
And sometimes all it takes is a little splash of color to remind us of that.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the history and the symbolism of Holi to the practicalities of attending Holi's in the City.
We did.
But there's always more to discover if you're intrigued by what you've heard today. I encourage you to check out the event website. They have tons of information about the music lineup, food vendors, cultural performances, and everything else you need to know to plan your day.
And who knows, maybe we'll see you there covered in color and dancing in the midst of that Technicolor storm.
That'd be amazing. So until then, embrace the color, embrace the joy, and maybe we'll see you at Holi's in the City.